So, shall we discuss the film?
Yes, Empire of Light.
So the two things I want to say, the first one, which is a bit odd, which is, whilst I was watching Empire of Light, the film I was thinking of is Away We Go, which is the Sam Mendes film from 2009 with John Krasinski and Maya Rudolph, which is a very, very personal and strange little film about a couple visiting people going to decide where to raise their baby. And it's really what it's just very personal. I don't think many people saw it. I'm not sure that it was particularly well received, but I always really liked it. And I was thinking about that in terms of this, because this is clearly a very personal project. That point that you picked up on when you said, and then he discovered that the character was, which I know from your point of view as a writer, you're fascinated by the way in which somebody can be writing something and it turns into something almost involuntarily. I think that is both the strength and also the problem with Empire of Light. Empire of Light feels to me like 5 different films. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it means is that there is a lot of stuff going on, and some of it I like and some of it not so much. On the one hand, it is, as he was saying, a very personal film about his mother and her own personal struggles. On the second hand, it is, I know that it's not cinema paradiso, but there is the projectionist presenting the movie. There is that whole side of it, the love of cinema, the Terence Davis looking up at the beam of light and seeing the thing projected, which we also saw in Kenneth Branagh's Belfast. And it is interesting seeing filmmakers making films about the way in which films affect you when you're, at a certain point in your life. And it's very interesting. I don't know whether you noticed this, but when they go into the projection booth, there's almost like churchy music. Mm-hmm. There's almost like the sound of an organ. And that thing when Toby says belts, straps, pulleys, sockets, the spark between the carbons makes the light and nothing happens without light. And then he does the thing about the static frames with darkness in between, the 5 phenomenon, an illusion of motion, the illusion of life, that little beam of light, it's an escape. Well, honestly, that's where we live, right? That's kind of a précis of the discussion that you and I have been having for pretty much 20 years. There's also a touch of Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, which is the Emma Thompson thing, because again, it's the same thing about an older woman, younger man, having a relationship in which obviously it's completely different in that because that's a transactional relationship, but about discovering a certain form of pleasure in an unexpected relationship. There's another film which is about racism in Thatcher-era Britain that's kind of, when you've got the skinheads and the mods going past on the right, and then all that stuff going on. And then there's another thing in there, which is, do you remember that film based on a true story in Wales called Save the Cinema, about the Welsh cinema getting the Jurassic Park premiere, which then prevents it from closure? All these things are going on at the same time. And obviously it looks beautiful because it's shot by Roger Deakins, so of course it looks beautiful. And there are great performances in it. Olivia Colman, yep, I love that phrase. What was it? A Ferrari dressed as a Mini.
Yep.
Toby Jones, when has he ever been anything other than spot on? The issue then is how much all of that coheres. And I think my issue is that I don't know that it all does. I don't know that it's not too many movies playing at the same time. It's to stretch the cinema metaphor, it's like being in a multiplex and watching all 5 films all at the same time. That isn't to say that I don't like those films, because I do. And honestly, I could have watched the film about Toby Jones running the projection box and just that on its own. But I think in that way that when he said, and then I discovered that she was a projectionist, and then...
He was the projectionist.
He was a projectionist, pardon me. No, and then I discovered that she worked in a cinema. It's kind of, you could hear him describing how it had organically become what it had become. And that kind of explains a lot, because it's not like it was a film that began life as a through line. It's a film that began life here, and then it went there, and then it went there, and then it went there. And I thought the discussion about it happening in lockdown, I went, right, that does explain a lot, because it is a film that you can see growing through isolated contemplation.
Well, and he said without lockdown, he would not have written this story because he wouldn't have had that time to think.
Do you share any of what I've said?
Yes, I do. I mean, first of all, I enjoyed the film.
Yes,
I would encourage people.
Sorry, I
to
should
go
have headlined on that. Yes.
I would say go and see Empire of Light. I think it's very enjoyable. Some incredible performances, of course, from actors who you love, and as you said, it looks absolutely beautiful. I think my reticence was I didn't quite buy the relationship between Olivia Colman and Michael Ward. I wasn't quite convinced.
No, I would agree with that.
About
it feels like a contrivance.
About that. And I'm aware, listening back to the interview, that the issue of the racial assault and the skinhead gangs didn't really become part of the conversation, which I had intended to. But there is so much to discuss because I think mental illness is what it's about. Mm-hmm. It's just that there are all those other things that are happening at the same time. I also think in a number of years' time, there will be a book to be written or something to be made about the pandemic's influence on storytelling.
Yeah.
Because this is, I mean, so many. Glass Onion is part of it. Empire of Light is part of it. The Fablemans with
Ennis Main is part of it.
Okay, Ennis
That
Main
was a film made during lockdown.
And I think we're not really at that point where that can be written yet. But it was such a profound experience for literally everybody that its impact on the way stories are told, films are made, it's going to last for a long time.
Yeah, and we'll be figuring it out for a very long time.
Well, now, that was a great video, I thought, wasn't
Couldn't take my eyes off it.
And neither could they.
Do you think they know that they can keep up to date with all things Kermode and Mayo's take by checking out our social channels?
Well, they do now.
Yes, they do.